Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jitsin Independent High School Interclass Debate Competition. Our topic today is the death penalty should be abolished. On my right is the government team from A2A, consisting of Ms. Lim Zhixin as the first speaker, Ms. Teo Yi-Yen as the second speaker, Ms. Tan Yong-er as the third speaker, and Ms. Lee Yvonne as the fourth speaker. And on my left is the opposition team from A2A, A2B, consisting of Mr. Benjamin Chang as the first speaker, Mr. Chong Wei-Shin as the second speaker, Ms. Fion Lu as the third speaker, and Ms. Kobulan as the fourth speaker. Now, I would like to introduce our team of adjudicators. Mr. Tina as the chief adjudicator, and the other adjudicators are Ms. Nurul and Ms. Kwon. I, Zion, will be the chairperson for this debate, and Diana will be the timekeeper. Now, I'm going to introduce the rules of today's debate competition. Firstly, the maximum speaking times are 5 minutes for each speaker and 4 minutes for reply speech. There are no maximum times. Next, during the rebuttal, members may not bring up any new arguments or new evidence except in direct refutation of material which has already been presented. Then, member will speak only when called upon by the speaker. There is to be no heckling. Besides, all speakers should attempt to both deliver at least one POI and to accept one POI during the course of the debate. There is no continuous POIs allowed. It is considered as heckling. Furthermore, the first minute of each constructive speech is considered protected time, during which no POI can be made. In addition, no POI and new main point will be made during the reply speech. Moreover, the government must define the resolution. The definition must be accepted unless it is undebatable or unreasonable. Lastly, is the time limit of competition. Time given is 5 minutes. The first bell will ring after the speaker speaks for 1 minute like this. After 1 minute, member of the opposition team can then raise the POI. After the speaker has spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring like this. POIs can still be made after this. POI's time given is 15 seconds. After the bell rang, the speaker will have to stop. And after the speaker has spoken for 5 minutes, the bell will ring twice, like this. The speaker will have to stop. I now call upon the first speaker of the government to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the honorable judges, my fellow debaters and members of the floor. I'm the first speaker of the government team, Ms. Zhixin. We strongly agree with the motion today that the death penalty should be abolished. In Malaysia, death penalty is a capital punishment for murder, drug trafficking, treason, and other criminal offences. There are no jury trials in Malaysia for the execution. Abolition refers to formally put an end to the death penalty. Today, as first speaker, I'll be talking about the inefficiency of the death penalty in crime prevention. Our second speaker will be presenting about the violation of human rights, misjudgment of death penalty. Our third speaker will be rebutting and strengthening our standpoint. And our last speaker will rebut the opposition team and sum up our team case. Now, to my first point, the death penalty does not reduce crime rates. The death penalty lacks the deterrent effect, which is commonly referred to by its advocates. As recently stated by the United Nations, there is no conclusive evidence of the deterrent value of the death penalty. In the 2016 crime report by Nambil, Malaysia was ranked in the top 15 in the World Crime Index and number 1 in Southeast Asia for the highest crime rate. The death penalty in Malaysia failed to demonstrate that executions deter people from committing crime. Official statistics that released by the Narcotic Division reveal that despite the death penalty for drug traffickers, the number of drug trafficking cases in the country continued to increase. From 1990 to 2011, the number of people arrested for drug cases increased from 744 to 3,845. The escalating figures show that the death penalty law has not achieved the aim of eradicating the drug menace. Home Minister Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein told Parliament that the death penalty had failed to stem the drug trade in Malaysia. However, around our country, states without the death penalty have a low crime rate. Since abolishing the death penalty in 1976, Canada's murder rate has steadily declined one-third less than 35 years ago. And FBI Unified Crime Report shows that countries with the death penalty have homicide rates 48% to 101% higher than countries without the death penalty. Similarly, the rejection of the death penalty in Albania, Russian Federation, and Ukraine has resulted in a decrease of crimes. The homicide rate in France and Georgia has fallen. Even the top 3 countries with the lowest murder rate, Iceland, Senegal, and Burkina Faso, it all happened in the countries without death penalty. Criminal liability is aimed at correcting the offender and restoring the social justice. We know that to reduce crime, we must focus on the root cause like poverty, lack of education, and unemployment. However, the death penalty does not address the root causes of crime and does not improve social safety. The death penalty models the very behavior it seeks to prevent. It teaches the lesson that it's acceptable to kill as long as our government are doing the killing. We already know that the executions have no impact in reducing crime, so shouldn't we go ahead of the problem? A brutal execution won't prevent the next tragedy. Therefore, we strongly support that penalty death should be abolished. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Next, first speaker of the opposition to present his case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the honorable judges, members of the floor, and of course, I love your opponent. My name is Benjamin, and I'm the first speaker from the opposition side. As the first speaker from the opposition team, I'll be first doing the team split, and I'll also be giving out my first point, which is why death penalty is fair. And my second speaker, Mr. Chong, will be talking about imprisonment brings more suffering than death penalty. His second point is why putting someone in prison actually costs more. Now, my third speaker, Ms. Fion, will be mainly doing rebuttals and summing up our team case. Lastly, my fourth speaker, Mr. Kogulan, will be analyzing the clash in today's debate and prove to all of you why we should win this debate. Now, as the first speaker from the opposition team, I'm supposed to rebut the first speaker from the government side, but I don't have much time, so I'll include the rebuts in my speech. Before moving on to my main point, let me brief you with some history of death penalty. Death penalty was first established date as far back as the 18th century BC in a code of King Hammurabi of Babylon, which codified for 25 different crimes. Death penalty at that time included drowning, beat to death, burned alive, and impalement. But in this 21st century, death sentence comes with other more humane choices, such as injection, electrocution, firing squad, and hanging. And it is more civilized now. So, why death penalty is fair? It is fair because apparently that people who get death penalty do not care about others' human being life. And imagine if death penalty doesn't exist. People would do anything they want because they deeply know that if they committed a serious crime, all they get is free food, free accommodation, or even free medication. Is this even fair to those who got killed or those victims? No. And death penalty, the reason death penalty is fair is because the law won't sentence them to death if they are innocent. And there is actually a time gap before the inmate is being executed. The time gap is 6 to 15 years, according to research done by CNN. And in these 6 to 15 years, people actually have the chance to appeal the case if they are innocent. Dr. Robert, a professor in the United States who works for the Department of Criminal Justice, once said, there are steps that the government has to take in order to ensure they are executing the worst and not executing the innocent people. Although many people believe that death penalty is a horrible way to treat one another, but it's actually not. People who sentenced for rape, murdering, or even killing a child, are they the kind of people you want running around? Of course not. For now, I've proven to all of you why death penalty is actually fair, and I urge the members of the floor to stand with us and make this policy into a reality. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Next, second speaker of the government to present her case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good evening to the honorable adjudicators, my worthy opponents, the members of the floor. I'm Elaine, the second speaker of the government team today. And we, the government team, strongly agree to the motion today, which is the death penalty should be abolished. So I believe that you all now have a clear image of the motion today after my first speaker has given her points. So I just proceed my points because due to the time being. So our team's second point is the violation of human rights. All of us individuals, no matter innocent or guilty, we share the same rights. One of the fundamental rights is the right to live, and the right to live free from cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Both rights I mentioned are protected under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and adopted by the United Nations. But the death penalty has already breached the fundamental rights which I just stated above. The opposition, you argue that abolishing the death penalty is not fair for the ones who died innocently. But to take a life when a life has been lost is violating the human rights to live. And this is not called justice, this is called revenge. And if we believe that murder is wrong and not admissible in our society, then it has to be wrong for everyone, not just individuals but the government as well. I believe that the members of the floor do know that Malaysia has also been taking the first step to abolish death penalty since last year. This is because even Malaysia, a developing country, also acknowledged that the imposition of death penalty is a violation of right to live. According to what the Amnesty International Malaysia Executive Director Syahri Dashni had said, it is impossible to tell someone in the death row that killing someone is wrong by killing him. Rejected. Are you implementing death penalty because you have the right to do so? No, no one has the right to end someone's life, not an individual nor the government. Death penalty is an ineffective, cruel, and simplistic response to the complex problem of violent crime. And this violence doesn't only breeds violence, but also violates the fundamental human rights. There are already 142 countries that abolish the death penalty and replace it with life imprisonment. Rejected. And we should change our laws and policies because the aim of punishment is not to end someone's life, but to let them learn through other kinds of punishment, such as life imprisonment or rehabilitation. Abolishing doesn't mean that they are getting away with it and not facing the consequences. As long as they are prison, they are not given the right to harm and kill anyone else again.
POI.
Rejected. And now I'd like to continue on with my third point, which is misjudgment and the mistakes of death penalty. I believe that the adjudicators know that our system of justice has never been mistake-free. And according to statistics shown by www.newsweeks.com, 1 in 25 are sentenced that is innocent. which is called miscarriage in justice. They die because of a crime that they did not commit. They die because of the wrongful convictions. Unlike life imprisonment, the death penalty is irreversible. You can't bring someone back to life if he or she is killed. Is this even called justice? It should be clear that death penalty only dehumanizes people and promotes murder. It can never be done fairly and mistake-free. You may declare someone's innocent later, but this makes hardly any difference to the loved ones because it is not going to bring back the loved ones anymore. So before I end my speech, I will urge the judges to stand with us by saying that death penalty should be abolished because it violates human rights, and we need to minimize numbers of innocent lives dying for one crime that they did not commit. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker has spoken for 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Next, second speaker of the opposition to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the honorable educators, members of the floor, and my fellow opponents. My name is Wei Xun, and I'm the second speaker of the opposition team. I'll be doing the rebuttals and giving my second and third point. Okay. On the government side, they said that we not abolishing the death penalty already violates someone's human right in the human right to live. But putting someone into prison is actually also violating someone's right for the right of freedom. Okay, and then I'll be rebutting other of their points in my speech. My first point is imprisonment brings more suffer than death. According to Washington Post, about 4,500 inmates die in prison every year, and suicide had been one of the leading causes of death. So, why inmates commit suicide in prison? Do people really get to stand years and years behind the bars? The answer is no. Firstly, according to WHO, mental disorders occur high rates globally. An estimated of 450 million people worldwide suffer from mental or behavior disorder, and these disorders are especially prevalent in prison populations. And the increased risk of suicide in prisons are usually related to depression. As example, in 2009, Phillips, a former American football star, was sentenced to 33 years in prison for driving his car into 3 teenagers. He then killed his cellmates and was sentenced to death. In the end, he hung himself in the prison before the incident. And before the incident, he wrote a letter to his mother about being fed up with prison and have anger issues. So, now do you think that putting someone in jail for a long period or lifetime is better for criminals? The answer is no. And then I'll be moving on to my third point. Why putting someone in a prison actually costs more than death penalty? According to Forbes, and after our calculations, in year 2017, there are almost 200,000 imprisoned with life sentence, and one prisoner costs approximately, approximately 30,000 USD per year. So that means prisoner with life sentence actually costs government 6,000 million per year. So now let's take a look at death penalty costs. We do admit that death penalty cost is higher than it is 90 USD per prisoner, but people executed in 2017 are only 23%, and it's cost for 2 million. Let's make a shocking comparison. US government actually spent 5,998 million more on inmates with life sentence. After all, the members' conclusion is that life sentence not only bring more suffer but also cost more. And according to USDebtClock.org, US has a debt of 21 trillion now. So why increase the burden to the country just to feed on the one who committed crime? With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker has spoken for 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Next, third speaker of the government to present a case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the third speaker from the government team, and I'll be dealing with the rebuttals and strengthen my team's case. From the first speaker from the opposition team, you have said that the death penalty is not fair to the one who's killed innocent. You said that we now have many civilized and humane way to carry out this death penalty. But let me tell you what. You look back to the very first of this problem, you still had that barbarian thinking from 18th century. And you are telling me that you're such a civilized person that you will carry out this death penalty in a humane way. But is killing a living human anything humane to you? And you have to tell us that it will have a gap for those who is innocent to seek help to get away from this death sentence. But let me tell you what. In Malaysia, death penalty is carried out secretly. That means that the family and friends of the prisoner will only know that he or she is killed after the death penalty has already carried out a week or two later. So how is he or she going to seek help when nobody actually knows that he's already sentenced to death? And you said that putting a prisoner into a prison is just seeking for free food and free hospitality. If this is that good, why did criminals want to run away from the cops? Why? Yes?
Since you say that in Malaysia, death penalty carried out secretly, so since it's a secret, how are you supposed to know that actually happened? Is there any of your family got killed by the death penalty? Thank you.
Of course, the family will know that because the carcass of the prisoner will, of course, send to the family a week or two later. So when this death penalty is carrying out, of course the family would not know. They would only know after that. So how are you going to let the prisoners go to seek help during the time? And the second speaker, you had already admitted that death penalty actually costs more than prisoning a person. And what the statistics you have gave me is all from US and some elsewhere. But let me tell you, in Malaysia, there's a lot of crimes that could lead to death penalty. And every year, Malaysia had put a lot of prisoners to death. So do you think the statistics that you have gave me is suitable for us Malaysians? And you have also said that there's even more people that will commit suicide when they're in prison than before the death penalty is carried out. So,
POI?
No, thank you. So you're actually blaming on the prisoner, but not the policy. Today we're talking about the topic is talking about the death penalty policy. It's not about the prisoner. Please don't be carried away. And my first and second speaker had already gave us evidence to show that death penalty policy is not only not effective, and it will also kill other innocent people, and it is also costly. So I strongly agree to the motion today that the death penalty should be abolished because it's not only not effective, and you're telling us
POI?
No, thank you. And you're telling us to go and kill a people to tell him that killing is not correct. It will only lead to a vicious cycle that we don't know when it will end. So please, fellows from the floor, please stay with us and believe that the death penalty penalty should be abolished for a more civilized and more bright future for humans. Thank you.
Thank you. The third speaker has spoken for 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Next, third speaker of the opposition to present her case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm the third speaker from the opposition team. My name is Fion, and our team strongly believes that the death penalty should be abolished. And now, let me prove to you why by rebutting the government speakers. So, firstly, the first speaker of the government team mentioned about the inefficiency of death penalty. And she mentioned that death penalty does not affect crime rates because it does not bring to a halt to crime rates. But how are you so sure that if we abolish death penalty, crime rates won't increase? Is there any solid fact or statistics? And for the second speaker, she mentioned about the violation of human rights. But as our team has said before, they said that we violated the human rights to live. But have you thought about the human rights of freedom? So, in the same case, sentencing them with life sentences is actually violating their human rights of freedom. For the third speaker, she said that actually death penalty is barbarian thinking, but let me tell you one thing, that we all evolve from barbarians and we learn from our mistakes. So I'm sorry about that. And she mentioned that death penalty is carried out secretly, but according to our research, inmates can choose to be executed or not. And because they choose to, there's only one reason, because life sentences suffer much than death penalty to them. And she mentioned about death penalty costs more, but I don't understand what point of my second speaker is not clear to you, because after our calculations, actually inmates imprisoned, the number of inmates in prison is actually a lot of times more than yes.
We've already said that what your second speaker had given the condition is only in US, not in Malaysia.
But I'm sorry, US is, as all we know, is one of the most powerful countries in the whole wide world. So isn't that our role to improve and to make our country grow, as our country is still a developing country? So, back to what I'm saying. As my second speaker has already proven, that inmates imprisoned, the number of inmates in prison is actually a lot more bigger and more than inmates sentenced to death. So, death penalty costs a little bit much more than imprisoning inmates, and the number of inmates is so much more than the number of inmates sentenced to death penalty. So isn't that clear and obvious that actually imprisoning inmates every year costs more and is burdening our government more? So now let me strengthen my team's case. As my first speaker has mentioned, death penalty is fair, justice is fair, because it is not fair for unforgivable inmates having free accommodation and food and medication in prison. They deserve what they cost. So you are saying that we should give the inmates a second chance, but who are there to give the murdered, to give the poor a second chance? Are they going to live again if we give the murderers a chance to live? And second, my second speaker mentioned that actually imprisoning inmates for life sentences is actually harmful for their mental health. So, as imprisoning them with life sentences can harm them mentally, so I want to ask the second speaker, is mental harm reversible? And thirdly, as I've mentioned before, actually death penalty does not cost more than imprisoning inmates with life sentences. So after all we've proven, after all the statistics that we've showed, I hope the members of the floor have a clear view that actually death penalty is fair and death penalty does not bring more suffer than life sentences, and last and foremost, death penalty does not cost more than life sentences. So I urge the members of the floor to stand with us and believe that death penalty
Alright, the discussion time is up. Here's the rules for reply speech. After the speaker has spoken for 3 minutes, the bell will ring like this. And after spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring twice. The speaker will have to stop. Now is the time for reply speech. We'll now invite the opposition to present his reply speech. Time given is 4 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the honorable judges, members of the floor, and my worthy opponent. My name is Kogulan, and I am the fourth speaker of the opposition team. As a fourth speaker, I will be doing the reply speech, and I also be finding out the main clash of today's debate, which is about death penalty. I will sum up our team's point, which is the first point: death sentence is fair. The second and third point: imprisonments bring more suffer than death penalty, and why putting someone in a prison actually costs more. So is my opponent's point, which is efficiency of death penalty, violation of human rights, and misjudge of law. So the main clash in today's debate is the cause. It is humane or inhumane. We, as the opposition, already proven that putting someone in a prison is actually worse. What makes them different from animals? Sentencing them in death penalty actually makes them pay for their unforgiven mistakes in dignity. So, for the cause, life sentence in total is 3,000 million. While the death penalty is 2 million in total. Can you see the difference? Now move on to, so our team is clearly stronger than the government team because our points are more reasonable than theirs. Like my first speaker mentions about death sentence is fair. He also clearly stated that it won't simply take people's life because it have 6 to 15 years time gap before executing them. And the death sentence is sentenced for some crimes like rape and murder. Besides, my second speaker also states about imprisonments brings more suffer than death penalty and why putting someone in a prison actually costs more. He also tells that imprisonments has led to many mates, death in prison, and suicide is one of them, which is caused by mental disorder. Imagine that you locked in a room full of bars, like an animal. You actually cannot do anything freely. My second speaker also talks about how putting someone in prison will cause a lot of death. Will also cost a lot than death penalty. This will also increase the burden of the country just to fed up the criminals, and at the same time ruins other person's life, which is injustice and unfair. As a conclusion, we as the opposition team strongly support that death penalty should not be abolished. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. The reply speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Now, let's invite the government to present the reply speech. Time given is also 4 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you. And a very good morning to my dear educators, members of the floor, and my worthy opponents. I'm Yvonne, and I'm going to present you our reply speech. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we, the government team, strongly stands for the motion given today. The death penalty should be abolished. So, as you all can see, death penalty is actually useless in crime prevention. Through all the statistics we had given just now, it already makes a clear comparison that it changes nothing to reduce the crime rates. So, why use killing to cure killing or other crimes? So, to the same thing, death penalty is also a kind of violation to human rights. And the whole world now is urging to reduce violence and to create a better place, a better world. And now what death penalty is doing is disobeying the aims that they have already set. And it is breaking the rules without any help to our society but making it worse than before. So, ladies and gentlemen, feel from your heart, and I'll speak from my heart. Everyone lives for a reason. Life is given from the God, the fortune, and our parents. So there's no one have the right to steal it or to take it by death penalty. So no matter who you are, what color you are, we are just the same. We are humans. Same to the criminals. They are humans too. So we live in a world and we share the same rights. Neither you or the government have the rights to steal their lives. So, sentence a person to death is too cruel in order to punish someone, and it is not the right way as we had given you the right way to overcome it. So, if crime leads to death penalty, then the same. You kill someone by death penalty, by rules, you should be killed too. So, why killing when we have a better way? Why not live but kill them? So, death penalty should be abolished. So, there's no reason to continue death penalty as a punishment. So, ladies and gentlemen, we urge you to support our team. So, we, the government team today, strongly support the motion today. The death penalty should be abolished. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. The reply speaker has spoken for 2 minutes and 41 seconds. We have now come to the end of the debate. All the adjudicators, please kindly move to the meeting room to make a decision. Thank you.